Recording.
Fine, yeah, please.
What a long time since the last time. What a long time since the last time.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to our fans again. Back to the SMT, and this is episode number 6, season number 4.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Shall we say first why we had a couple of weeks? We had like 1 month off without SMT.
Definitely, at least a month. Well, it was a combination of things. I want to say, well, as people can notice, we're not together physically together anymore. I moved back to Rome, but well, you give the honor to the SMT place by being at the studio now.
Exactly.
And well, so that's, I think, one reason, the fact that, well, now I'm back in uni. You're back. You restarted the annual English school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My school year.
So definitely, we're both very busy, so it's hard to make time to do the SMT. This, even though we of course we really care about it, so that's why we're here today. And then I think, well, sure, at least for the last 2 weeks we were actually doubting, and we were not sure how to approach SMT after everything that's going on in the world, in our lives. So because we are conscious of how happy we look and feel actually while doing SMT, sometimes we feel like we don't want it to seem like we're not thoughtful, we're not respecting, we're not thinking about what's going on in the world.
Exactly. Yes, totally. And so, strange enough, because you just mentioned that, what happened to us during the last 2 weeks is that we had chosen one topic, and then probably we were not saying anything, but because we knew that we were going to do it in English the next time, right? And we were not saying anything until both of us mentioned the fact of how uncomfortable we felt dealing with that topic at times of war, no peace, and so on. So what we did is we revisited the topic. And, and that is the title of our SMT today.
A revisiting concept.
Exactly. Revisiting concepts in our lives.
Yeah, just already that says so much. We could just talk about the word revisiting.
So I don't know, would you like to say something about it? Like, of course, because it's a strange word in the sense that to revisit is not to visit a place back, because we say, let's go back to that place. This is to revisit. It has a total different meaning. So what is the concept of revisiting?
Yeah.
What is to revisit?
Yeah, and I've even when I did my fair share of research, it was hard to at least online to find this word, maybe essays or things about revisiting concepts. But I'm sure people have spoken about it a lot. I need to go deeper in my research. But well, as you were saying, it's not like going back to that place, but at the same time, it's like going back to that place. Well, not physically, for sure, but just like rethinking about something with, most of the times, hopefully, a different luggage, a different, from a different perspective, I would say. And because you asked me to say something about it, actually, my first point was that I wanted to talk about with you was how bittersweet this concept is. We know that word, we love that word. And you're laughing because you know. But bittersweet. At the beginning I wrote it in Spanish, and I wrote like revisiting dolor o alivio, and which in English would be like pain or pleasure is not the word.
Relief, relief.
Relief.
Mhm.
Because you know, it's that moment when you either realize something from the past, or rethink of a situation, of a memory, of a moment. It's so painful, but then I think it gets satisfying. It can be satisfying, it can be relieving at some point.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I would say, come on, I would say definitely at the beginning there's a lot of pain, because we know that and I was going to tell you before, well, I'm going to try not to be so spiritual with my answer because I could say like a million things, but I'm going to try not to. And definitely when you're revisiting a concept or something, an idea, a habit, a way of doing, a discipline that you have in your life, you're going through some darkness because you are realizing that something is not correct, proper, clean, good, well done. Come on, all the things that are supposed to be like on the right side, there is something that is wrong. So you need to go through that dark moment. But of course, after revisiting, the new part is light, is complete. So it's relief, relief with the nostalgia that you're taking for life of something that was part of yourself, but it's not part of yourself anymore.
100%. It's that, as you say many times, moment of truth, you know, you have with yourself and with that situation you're reconsidering. And so, well, it hurts because on one hand you're like, wow, it's so true, and I don't want to look at it.
Exactly.
But then, yeah, you feel that light again once you're true, you're being truthful with yourself.
I agree, Fran. And I think because I was going to ask you now from the conversation, is what do you think? I mean, the pain is caused by what? Because in my case, thinking about some situations, personal situation, is of course, first of all, is seeing the truth on the face, right? As I see it. And then the uncertainty of not knowing how to deal with it, or not being at the right level of, or also realizing sometimes that you don't have enough tools to deal with the revisiting of a certain situation. And so that is painful. Then if you go and do your search, and of course, there is emunah, there is faith, there is hope. There is all the things that we spoke before the SMT. Well, of course, you can work on that. But that moment of tunnel, of re-elaborating, yes, it's hard. It is hard.
Yeah, true. Because, yeah, as you said, is that realization of also not knowing for sure if you have the tools to deal with the truth. But I think it's also the realization, I mean, when you revisit, it's like you can finally see something clearly, right? And so it's also maybe I would say a little bit of embarrassment, I want to say, of thinking of yourself not being able to see that clearly at the time.
Before, absolutely, Fran. I think at that moment, there are many different emotions coming up, like you just said it, embarrassment, but also shame. Shame for you. Then there is a little bit of, a little bit of punishment, but punishment in a positive way. I mean, as you just said, how come I didn't? It's so clear now that what happened to me, where was I? Where was I? Which is the opposite of the I was there many times that I told you, right?
I was not there.
Exactly. It's exactly the opposite of that concept.
Yeah, 100%.
Where was I? Because I know that I was in many other places for the good thing of all those things, but come on, where was I in so many other situations at the end, right?
That's true. And also, I mean, you know me, and I don't know if it happens to you as well, if it happened to you as well, but like me being a very nostalgic person, right? Because of me being a very nostalgic person, sometimes it's also the pain of not wanting to leave that comfort zone of like, because the realization is so painful, that it's also very hard to let go of that image you have of the thing, of that.
True,
that
Francie. True,
yeah.
true. Yes.
Well,
I think that
yeah.
I think that it doesn't happen to me that often. The thing of not want. Once I realize, I think I only want to leave. I only want to leave that comfort zone. And I was going to say, I think that what happens is that you are a very serious person. Serious in the sense that not serious in terms of features of your face and so on, but serious in the sense of you take responsibility for the things that you have chosen to do. And so, of course, if you're going to choose to change some aspects in your life, then you're going to do it right. So that passage of, I'm going to live a way that is easy, convenient, comfortable, easy, I know how to do it, to the unknown.
Yeah, no, so scary.
So scary, so scary.
True.
Good. And so, because you asked me first, and I know that this episode could last for 1,000,000 hours.
Yeah, I already have so many things to say.
Well, but I was going to ask you, because of course you said I was doing my own research, and I was also thinking about the SMT and the questions that I wanted to ask you. And I was thinking for myself, which are the different, like, very concrete aspects that I have revisited in my life in the last 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, in the last years of my life. So the question is for you, France, is there any particular concept that you have concretely revisited in your life recently?
Well, I think when we chose this topic, we kind of mentioned a few things that now you kind of know, but I can go more in depth on. But then, so I'm gonna mention a few things. Like, of course, I'm constantly revisiting. I want to know my concept of love. I'm constantly revisiting my my sense of belonging to a place. And then, you know, when I was writing my notes for the SMT, I realized there was another concept I've been revisiting lately, which is teaching. Because I was always very sure I wanted to be an actress, a singer, a dancer, work in this kind of entertainment, in the entertaining interest industry. And I'm still pretty much sure I want to do that. But then, of course, teaching was also very present in my life, both on one hand, because I always loved studying. I always attended lessons, not only like outside of school, and also because I was kind of always there as a teacher in different ways in your school, starting with like an assistant, as an assistant teacher, and then, you know, a little bit in summer camps, and then now I have the honor of like teaching kids, some who are who happen to be your students. And I realized how much I enjoy it. I love teaching. I really do. I love teaching because I feel like more than teaching, I'm learning.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I think at the beginning, I used to think that, especially if I take teaching, if I take teaching to the arts industry, it always feels like the acting teacher is a failed actor, you know. So I think I always kind of never thought of the option of becoming a teacher, but then I feel like no, because if it's my choice out of passion, then it wouldn't mean that I'm like failure, that I didn't, it wouldn't mean that I failed in my arts. I could just take it as um like as a side job, and I think I would like to have it for all my life. I would love to teach.
Of course, of course, of course. Well, when you were talking, I was thinking, who is a devoted student doesn't want to teach at some point? Because come on, this is the truth. I mean, especially thinking about the vocation, which is a concept that I have been revisiting a lot lately. It's true, but. The truth, and it's so evident in you, France, you have always been a devoted student. You've always loved that position of being a student and learning and having like a mentor in front of you. Yes, praising the mentoring, the teaching. Yes, exactly. You've always been in that place. So there is something for sure in yourself that is very vocational, despite what you choose at the end, whether you go for the entertaining industry or you become a teacher in some other areas. You could be a teacher of so many things like English and Spanish, history of art and drama and so many other things, Franci. But I think it's connected to that thing of being a student and a teacher eternally, because you feel also gratitude from the gratitude of a student who feels so happy because he or she is learning. At some point you want to give it out, you want to share,
because like at some point you think, I mean, you know these things, but like what's the point of
keeping them for yourself.
yeah, for yourself, you know. And of course in always a humble way, right?
Of course, of course, of course, of course, of course. But that is the student attitude. If you are at that point, then come on, there's always humility there. There's always humility. Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at your teacher on top of you and you have that idea or that sensation that you're learning.
Exactly. And that they're filling your jar.
Exactly. Yes, true.
Yeah, well, because we mentioned teaching and you know, history, English. You know, I wanted to mention this because when I was thinking of, you know, the both pain and relief of teaching, of revisiting concepts, I was thinking that a great, beautiful side of revisiting, we actually see it in subjects that me and you love, like history, literature, poetry. And I was thinking that's all about revisiting, right? Revisiting the past and seeing how that applies to the present, I guess, right?
Absolutely. What you're saying is there is an intrinsic concept of revisiting in some subjects in particular.
Yeah.
So it's part of the essence of the subject.
Exactly.
I agree totally.
Yeah, we just go back. It's like we have like lens through which we look at the past, and then try to learn from it.
Exactly. Well, because probably what comes at the end, Rante, is the re-elaboration permanently of everything.
Definitely.
Ourselves, our language, our relationships, the way we live, where we live, the people that we relate to and with, the things that we do. Come on, it's a constant re-elaboration. And if you are in that path, again, revisiting becomes a concept in your life of something that you do permanently. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Good. I have
I want to ask you something else as well, because, well, I know, and I think that people that are closer to you know that you've been revisiting a lot of things in the past, what, 4 or 5 years maybe?
Yeah.
And well, yeah, you changed so much after revisiting, because it was like a really deep um realization of many of the things in your life, I think, that you had.
True.
But so I wanted to ask you if you can remember revisiting something that then changed your life a lot at a younger age, maybe when you were my age, or maybe during university or after university, you know. If you remember just realizing something that you hadn't realized before, and that your life. I'm sure maybe there's a lot of things.
Yes, of course. Well, this is a moment of honesty, so I owe you the honesty. I owe you the honesty. So, yes, there is one crucial. I mean, I was when you were saying that question, when you were trying to elaborate the question, I was thinking, the truth is, it's true. Come on, it's real. I've been revisiting like very strongly during the last 4 or 5 years, but there has been a constant in me of questioning. There is, I was known in my family for the questioner. the daughter who was always questioning everything. And I remember being exhausting for the others. I remember being exhausting for my parents, for sure. But so there is something in my essence, for sure, of, again, re-asking, re-elaborating. But there was a moment in my life that, of course, it wasn't as much as it is now, or it's been now, but there was an important change, and that was during university. That was during university, in which I was breaking with I was starting to break with my old models of everything, of person, of child, of woman, of student, of religion. I was breaking all the models. And then there was a person next to me at that moment that pushed me towards the breaking, because, of course, he came from a completely different environment, and that was an accelerator. Just because you're asking me, was there a crucial moment? Because I remember at that point, I broke. Yes, I split it 2 different models. I went from one thing to the other. I also
a revolution.
It's an internal revolution, but also a physical one. I went to live by myself when I was very young, and it was kind of strange. I was also rethinking about my career. What am I doing? Why am I studying political sciences and why? It was a constant question, and it helped me a lot because it put me in a different way, in a different place. I remember that sensation and feeling. I was in a different place. There was a lot of pain. I had fights in my family daily. I remember the difficulty. I remember the difficulty for me, but also for my parents. I was, yes, throwing tantrums permanently. But tantrums, they were mental tantrums. You can imagine that.
Yeah,
I remember being like 20, 21 and telling my parents, listen, come on, I'm thinking over and over again for like 10 days consecutively, and then coming and telling them, well, is it okay if tomorrow evening we meet because I need to talk to you? And my father was always telling me, there's nothing to talk about because he was afraid of what I was going to tell him and ask him. He was always, yes, of course.
Why would you argue with them if you were not even like living at their place?
It was the borderline in which I was leaving my home, and then it was because again, even if I had left my parents' home, I still had questions. I was their daughter. I wanted to know. I wanted to research more. I wanted to understand. I wanted to question them also. It was not me questioning myself, but I was also questioning them in so many ways. And so, yes, I went, but what I wanted to rescue from all this and to grab in terms of importance is the constant exercise of re-asking myself and not trying. Then for many years, my life stayed more stable. I have to say that. But yes, of permanently revisiting and questioning and trying not to accommodate to things that I was not happy with.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that at the end, it's about that. It's about, like, as we said before, just stepping out from the comfort zone, and I think it's interesting to see how maybe in your 20s you did that through like a revolution, through something like very strong. I don't know how to put it, but then in your 40s, when you went back to that revisiting, I mean, you never stopped, but just in a stronger way, you're kind of doing it the opposite way, where you try to find that order.
Exactly.
Instead of that disorder that you maybe needed from your childhood, right?
Of course, Franchi. That's a brilliant thing that you're saying. And one of the things that I had written before the SMT, and so when I was thinking about it, was form and shape. At that time, I had nothing to hold to except from someone pushing me and telling me the opposite of all my life. So that was the only thing that I could grab from. Now, at this age, there are other important things because I have finally found a way of important, relevant, and consistent things that when I grab to them, I feel stronger. I feel the consistency, okay? It's not gonna fall down immediately. I'm grabbing to things that I feel important and that will stay in time. At that time, the change was only for me. I was making my own revolution. Now there's a revolution that goes beyond me, probably because I'm a mother as well.
Well, for sure, yeah. You can't be throwing tangerines.
Exactly.
Wow, yeah.
Well, and I have one question for you, because we also spoke about Italy. Italy came as a topic or concept, and we were also thinking about Italy and revisiting. So I had to, because I've been an immigrant for 20 years, my own concept of Italy as a country and Italians had to be revisited a few times, but that is irrelevant now. But my question was for you. You have mentioned in many SMTs that you have always felt in that line of the middle, in the Atlantic Ocean, between one continent that, of course, is very strong in your soul because you belong to that part of the world. That's your origin, that's the place where you were born. But then you grew up in Italy, okay? And you grew up in an Argentinian family in Italy with lots of things about, with lots of drilling about Argentina, drilling permanently, and then drilling about our own concepts of Italy. So you had to accommodate yourself there, okay? And then you lived abroad. Sorry, Franci, just to conclude, of course, it's all yours, but and then you lived abroad many times. You spent a whole summer in Argentina. You lived 1 year in Taiwan. You lived nearly another year in London, and now you're in Rome. So one or two concepts that you had to revisit about Italy in your life.
Yeah. So I think like this needs its own SMT. And maybe we talked about it already in the past because it's something very present in my life constantly. It's very hard for me, and it's crazy that we talk about this week. We talk about this today, this week, because I actually had. They interviewed myself this week at school for an activity. So, and they were asking me how, and I will tell you more in detail after the episode, but they asked me how I felt in terms of my, as I said, sorry, no, in terms of me feeling, being born in Argentina, but having, no, but they did it in an embarrassing, to embarrass me on purpose, so well. And the fact that was that people couldn't understand how I could not feel Italian, and 100% Italian, let's say. And but for me, it's so clear because, as you said, having because I was brought up by an Argentinian family, it's impossible for me to being familiar with things like Italian dialects, Italian like folklore. But I mean, I'm not familiar with the Argentinian either, and that's where the struggle comes. And I remember like having revisited the concept of Italy, and especially after Taiwan, after coming back from Taiwan, because I didn't want to be with the Italians in Taiwan, but at the same time, like I was representing Italy with Rotary, and I think that made me feel, made me more conscious of like Italy and like how grateful I am at the end of the day for this country, you know. So, and even when I went to London, I don't know, I don't have like a final answer, and it's again something that I'm constantly thinking about, revisiting. What is Italy? What is Argentina to me? You know, what is home to me, as we said in one SMT. And on one hand, part of my revisiting is always trying to remind myself that at the end of the day, I spent most of my life in Italy, so I'm not that different from Italians, you know.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yes.
No, I was going to ask you, do you feel more Italian when you are abroad than when you are in Italy? Like, I don't know, you reinforce that concept of being Italian in a positive way, I'm saying that because that is something that happened to me also last year. I went to a country, and funny enough, everybody called me, it was a country of Spanish speaker, and everybody was coming either from, Latin America or other places in Europe, but I was the Italian for everybody. And I spoke Spanish, and everybody knew that my origin was Argentinian, but I was called the Italian, okay? So that is the Italian woman. And at the beginning, it was kind of shocking 1-2 times, but then there was some kind of pride, but a positive pride again. It was a revisiting of myself. It was an elaboration of me again being more in agreement with my Italian part after so many years of living here, because that's the reality.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I remember feeling like, no, but guys, like, this is not how Italians are like, okay? I'm the only Italian in the room, but Italians are not like that. But I mean, I am Italian in a way.
Of course.
I speak Italian is like my first language at the end, together with Spanish again. But I don't know. So I feel like revisiting is that effort to actually recognize and see the truth, you know, and own up to it and be proud of it.
True, Fran, true, absolutely. Yes.
Oh, well.
I have like 20 more questions here too, but we do not have so many more minutes. And so I let you go first with a very short and concrete explanation of your artistic part of revisiting today. Go.
So because we were doing the SMT in English, because of the concept we talked about
Bittersweet.
Sorry?
Bittersweet?
Not necessarily bittersweet, but just like history and poetry being a revisitation of like the past. I wanted to read a Shakespeare sonnet for you that we recently studied at school, where he describes a woman that is clearly not perfect, and it's the opposite of the ideal woman and the ideal image of the woman that was at the time, and that it is the same today, you know.
It's contemporary, you mean?
Yes. Exactly. So what I like is that we can just the concept that Shakespeare was saying, it can also be it's also present today, basically about him not liking the perfect woman, the perfect image that, for example, today we see on social media of people, but having its own vision of beauty, let's say. So I will share this one with you. Okay. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips is red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet by heaven I think my love as rare, as then is she belied with false compare.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And well, maybe this is more related to beauty, and we should actually dedicate an SMT about it, but what I wanted to mean is that there is a concept, for example, of beauty that it's always revisited nowadays.
True.
Was written like years ago, ages ago, centuries ago, so it's still present now.
True. And this thing of revisiting beauty, I think it's something that the two of us do permanently.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't mention it, but yeah, we do.
Not only we speak about it, but we also revisit, because we always speak about the beauty of the brain first, which is unseen. True. Well, and I'm gonna go fast and tell you that one of the places, the areas where I exercise the revisiting concept, but it's really a matter of exercising. So I put myself there at work, is of course cooking. And I was going to say I had a master, I had a teacher, and he was not my direct teacher because I observed from him, but he didn't teach me directly, but I observed from him. And I'm going to show you a photo. Good. 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 So exactly. So my I think the person probably the person that I have seen revisiting food and the concept of ancestral food and ingredients and love and passion and beauty is Enrico Crippa. Enrico Crippa. I'm gonna send him the SMT now that I'm thinking. I cannot say that I worked, but I kind of did like an internship in his restaurant, a 3 Michelin star restaurant in Alba, Italy. And that was an experience, that was a life experience. But the most important thing that I learned was the revisiting of all of the concepts inside a kitchen, everything. So the oil that is not oil, the vinegar that is not vinegar, the lemon juice that turns into a jelly, all the vegetables, the greens, the flowers that become part of your salad. And I think this is the dish that he won the 3rd star with. Again, it's a salad that itself contains lots of concepts of revisiting nature in particular, because it's a salad that varies, the number of ingredients varies according to the seasons of the year. So come on, this is the place where I keep in my heart whenever I want to revisit something that is more material, concrete, and human-like. So yes, all my thanks and gratitude to Enrico Crippa, because he inspired much more than what he knows actually. So again,
well, that's the teacher's position.
Exactly. Well, Franci,
we don't want to. We're like
breathless, of course. Breathless. So lots of other things to comment, but it gives us the input to come back to this space next week, listen from our fans and visitors and our loved ones that follow us permanently. We have a short but very loving list.
Loving list, yes, for sure.
And I thank you, Franci. I thank you because you make me revisit the concept of being a mother permanently. So thank you very much.
I love you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.